If you sell your family home, you don't have to worry about a capital gains tax, right? Wrong. A new IRD interpretation of government tax rules means thousands of families, including many cyclone victims, could be subject to a capital gains tax on part of their family home via the Bright Line test.
So it all happened when the extension of the Bright Line period went from 5 years to 10 years. And that was coupled with a change in law that said, look, if you live outside your home for 12 months or longer, for any reason, then for that period that you're away, you're going to be subject to a capital gains tax for the proportion of that gain to the extent you're outside the home.
Okay, so if I leave my house because, well, I want to go overseas on an OE and I don't want to rent it out, could I be taxed for that year that I'm away or 2 years that I'm away?
You absolutely will be, right? So it impacts people who are going overseas on their OE. The IRD's own interpretation statement gives an example of a family where the wife is transferred overseas for 2 years. The rest of the family remains in the family home. She comes back, they sell it, and she is taxed on her gain or her share of the gain for the period that she's away, even though it clearly remains the family home.
So hang on, who's on the ownership papers here? Who's on the title?
It's the husband and the wife are on the title.
So joint ownership.
Joint ownership. She goes overseas for 2 years, comes back, they sell the property. Her half share, she's subject to capital gains on that, at least to the proportion of the 2 years that she was away. The other outrageous part about this interpretation, so there's a group of people, the groups of people all over the country, but certainly some people in Swanston and West Auckland suffered massive flooding damage. My colleague, she had water up to 1 metre in her house. Hasn't been able to live in the house for the past 7 months. Auckland Council and the central government are arguing about who's going to pay for it. No hope of being in the house, certainly within a 12-month period. She saw this article in the Herald yesterday and said, Bruce, am I going to be slugged potentially with paying tax on this gain that's been made? Well, I couldn't live in the property, having to fund all these costs, finding somewhere else to live. And I said, unfortunately, yes. I actually really think you need a legislative change to say, well, look, this 12-month time period doesn't start kicking if you can't live in the house, if it's uninhabitable, for the very least to help out the cyclone victim.